This Metroid Prime 4 series covers how to get 100% scans and items in order with minimal backtracking. For best results, follow this series from the start of Part 1. There will be spoilers in the form of important information, and as usual, useful timestamps can be found in the video description. We left off just after fully exploring the Great Mines and collecting our 5th teleporter key. There are still a few important tasks we must complete before we are ready to face the final challenge and beat the game. While we can technically complete these tasks in any order, I'm going to start with completing the Green Crystals quest, as I want to have the final upgrade it provides for as long as possible. We can actually complete it now because we have the Psychic Power Bomb, which is capable of destroying the large and tough green crystal ore deposits around Soul Valley. So this portion of the guide will be focused on just showing the locations of all those deposits, and we'll also be grabbing the available upgrades throughout Soul Valley found at various Galactic Federation wrecks. Just beyond one of the green crystal deposits northeast of the Great Mines is a statue that can be scanned for a unique cutscene. We can't yet send the mech parts back to home base, but we might as well stop at the Galactic Federation sites along our path to get the green crystal deposits. The first of these sites along the eastern edge has a container that can be destroyed with a power bomb for a power bomb expansion. Next to one of the deposits is Tokabi at a makeshift camp identifiable by a rising trail of smoke that can be seen from a distance. He'll give us the teleporter chip during this first interaction, then start popping up at other locations throughout Soul Valley with additional items or upgrades. If you've noticed certain items on the map from the scout bot are seemingly not there, this is why. It's just that Tokabi has not gotten there yet. The next Galactic Federation site that we'll visit is on the southern border. We can enter a maintenance tunnel after opening the door with a thunder shot to get a missile expansion. Speaking a bit on green crystals, we don't need to collect every last crystal for 100% items and scans, but we do need to get most of them. If you want, you can return to the Altar of Legacy once 75% of the meter is filled up to get an upgrade that will actually show the location of green crystals in Soul Valley on the threat scanner. That being said, so long as you grab any green crystals you can see while going between the ore deposits that I'm showing the map locations of, you should have enough for all upgrades by the time you get through them all. The next Galactic Federation site, near Fury Green, contains a missile expansion that can be obtained with the Control Beam and Psychic Grapple. Another thing I want to mention about green crystals is that while we don't need 100% of them for 100% items and scans, there are a couple of gallery items that can only be viewed after getting literally all of the green crystals in the game. This is easy enough to do, albeit time-consuming, in Soul Valley after getting the green crystal sensor upgrade. You just need to sweep the whole area. However, if you have a bit left to get after getting all of those, go around to all the shrines in Soul Valley and really check all the nooks and crannies for green crystals there. That was what I was missing when I decided to go through and get all the green crystals in my game. I would recommend doing this after getting the 100% items and scans ending though, not before. The Galactic Federation site along the northern border of Sol Valley contains a missile expansion and an easily destroyed crate. The last green crystal ore deposit is located in the center of Sol Valley, just outside Chrono Tower. When you see the green energy crystals all the way filled with green in the menu, you have enough for the 100% items and scans ending. The blue portion is just for tracking progress to 100% crystals obtained, which, as mentioned earlier, is only required for a few concept art pictures in the gallery section of the main menu. So, with all necessary green energy crystals obtained, we can return to the Altar of Legacy and Fury Green and turn them in for our remaining upgrades. For me, this included the Control Beam boost, Green Crystal Finder, and most importantly, the Legacy suit. Also, while we are here, we may as well go to the southeast chamber where we can slot all crystals into the central console, then manipulate it to view the bosses or guardians of the 5 teleporter keys. These can also be scanned for the logbook if you forgot to do it during any of those boss fights. Returning to base camp, we can speak with Mackenzie to get the teleporter patches, which will allow us to go collect the mech parts and send them back to the camp. Before we go do that though, let's take the cargo launcher back to the start of Fury Green, then go through and collect the remaining items. Near the end of the first chamber is a statue that can be destroyed with a power bomb to reveal another power bomb expansion. In the next open area, we can burn through some webs along the northern wall for a shot expansion. Moving a bit further along, we can jump up those psychic platforms we activated near the start of our playthrough for a missile expansion. To the north, we can activate and scan the Scout bot for Fury Green to reveal all remaining items on the map. There should be one more shot expansion and 2 more missile expansions. At this point, we should have 97% of scans, with only one more biology scan for ViewROS and 2 for Sylux forces. The last ViewROS scan is missable, and we'll get it while going through Flare Pool for the last time. We can stop at 2 Galactic Federation sites on our way to Flare Pool. We'll need to lasso away a vehicle at the first for our first mech part. Then, if we go down near Voltforge, we should find another Tokapi camp, where we can go get a missile expansion. Finally, at the Federation site that is just west of Flare Pool, we can clamber up to the top for our second mech part. With that, we'll make our way into Flare Pool to get our last ViewROS scan and all the remaining items there. To start, we will return to the abandoned mining operation where we first obtained the fire chip. With Psychic Power Bomb, we can clear away the rubble blocking a magnetic rail, then Spider Ball up it for a shot expansion. We'll then make our way to the lava lake and blow open the western passage with a super missile so that we can ride through it on Viola. In this new area, we'll have to go through a maintenance tunnel to the northwest. We'll see a Psychic Power Bomb expansion along this tunnel, but it will be inaccessible until our return trip. Before we move towards the mech part, let's grapple along the nodes to the east, then use the spinner device there to turn off some of the lava falls. This will allow us to get that power bomb expansion on our way out. Now there are minor spoilers ahead here, so just make sure to scan the enemy that appears after scanning the mech part in the western chamber, as it is missable. Once again, we need to scan the Behemoth before we defeat it, as this is our only opportunity to do so. It would be a shame if we came all this way only to miss one of the last 3 scans for our logbook. Now, as far as strategies go, I recommend trying to spread damage out across its 4 eyes equally so that they can all be destroyed in quick succession. This is because the Behemoth becomes more aggressive with each eye that is destroyed, so having them all severely damaged before we start destroying them makes the fight a lot easier. In any case, once all eyes are destroyed, the Behemoth will fall and we will be free to send the nearby mech part back to base camp. We can then make our way back out of here, collecting the Psychic Power Bomb expansion along the way. Now let's get the remaining items in Flare Pool. Going across the lava lake, we can activate and scan the scout bot on the southeast side to reveal all unacquired items. One of them, a shot expansion, is nearby. We'll need to time our jump with Spider Ball so that we avoid the jet of steam that shoots out. We can then cross over to the northeast side and make our way up the first lift and through the shortcut door that we opened. We'll then need to go through the broken glass on our right side and use a combo of boost and spider ball mechanics to snag a missile expansion. The next couple of upgrades are both near where we first found Duke. Near where we first found Duke, we can open a new room with Thundershot and also activate a device with several Thundershots inside. This will open 2 containers for both a shot expansion and missile expansion. Without Duke, we'll need to make use of Thundershot to open new paths that lead deeper into the facility. Along this new path is a missile expansion free for the taking. In the very next room, we can complete a more challenging Spider Ball segment to grab yet another missile expansion. Our next two upgrades are both found in the large vertical chamber that the Cybots first started attacking us in. To start, we'll need to use a spinner on the bottom level to reveal two conduits, both of which need to be hit from behind with Thundershot to activate, and within quick succession. This will get us a large shot expansion. Next, we'll need to grapple our way up to the top floor for a standard shot expansion. Finally, if you missed it on your first time through like I did, you'll need to go into the next room over east and complete the small puzzle involving Psychic Lasso and Control Beam for a missile expansion. We'll then need to do a bit of backtracking and go down one last unexplored path for a final item and quicker exit of the facility. Returning to the room where we got our first area map for Flare Pool during our initial visit, we can use Thundershot to open the eastern path, then fight or run past a series of bots and heavy turrets to reach a small chamber where several waves of enemies will need to be defeated. Once that's done, we can blow open a nearby hatch and lasso the target off, then perform a ball jump bomb jump combo to grab one last missile expansion. We can then scan and make use of the nearby bomb slot to quickly transport ourselves near the start of the facility, which will make returning to Soul Valley that much easier. If you've been following this series from the start of Part 1, then the only items you should need at this point are those remaining in Soul Valley, which is what we will cover next. Also, you should only need 2 more scans for the logbook, both of which are acquired in the final fight. But first, let's go up north to the Galactic Federation site for our next mech part. Upon approaching a large container, it will be gobbled up by a Varmis. We'll need to chase it down, which is made possible by shooting projectiles at its tail to stun it, then strike its tail with our boosted Viola to deal true damage. Rinse and repeat until the health is all depleted, then morph ball inside and set off a power bomb to free the mech part for collection. Going to the Northern Galactic Federation site, we can meet up with Tokabi once more for a shot expansion, then use Thundershot to free and collect another mech part. The last mech part is near the entrance of Icebelt, and we're actually going to fully enter Icebelt while here, as it will cause Tokabi to move to his final location for us. So to that end, we'll enter Icebelt, take the lift down, and ride on the tram before exiting back out. We will then take the southwest path back out to Soul Valley, grabbing the last mech part before jumping to the ground below. We can then head back towards Fury Green, and Tokabi should conveniently be located right along our path. His final gift is a Psychic Power Bomb expansion, and this should be the last item that we need for 100%. When we first return to home base, a cutscene will play out and we will be asked if we want to start the final part of the game. I recommend saying no and doing this first. Check that you have 100% items and 98% scans, then save the game at the nearby station, quit to the main menu, and make a copy of the save file. This is so that you can go back and collect 100% green crystals for those gallery items after beating the game. With that done, we can return to Duke, say we are ready, and then say yes once more. Following a cutscene, we'll need to then go through a short walking section, scan a statue, then a key to activate a lift that will bring us to the top of Chrono Tower. We can then activate the Psychic Spider Ball tracks and ascend them to the top room. If you want to fight the final boss blind, then just make sure that you scan it in both of its two forms, and the second form can only appear during the final phase of the fight. To start the fight, we just need to interact with the console in the top room, and you can pause now if you want to do the fight blind. For everyone else, I'm going to give a pretty detailed breakdown of the true Sylux fight, as I found it very difficult, especially on hard difficulty. Personally, I found the first phase to be the hardest. After scanning Sylux's base form into our logbook, we'll need to expose each of his green extensions with our beams, then tear them off with Psychic Lasso. This part on its own is not too difficult, but what can be difficult is keeping our dang team alive throughout the fight. If any of them fall, it is an instant game over. Because of this, whenever an ally goes down, it's essential to drop everything and revive them, taking damage in the process if necessary. Once all green extensions are destroyed, we can deal true damage to Sylux, and a power bomb may be required to deal all possible damage in the short time frame, specifically on hard difficulty. Sylux will then summon one of 3 elemental variants of dragon head arms or extensions. The more damage we deal to them, the shorter they last. I recommend going all out here with Super Thundershot to bring them down as quickly as possible. Power bombs can actually do it quicker, but in my opinion, we want to save those for the lightning variant of dragon heads. For the ice dragon heads, we'll need to target the heads that are attempting to suck us into a vortex, otherwise they'll draw us in and deal massive damage. I initially found Sylux's spinning blade attack to be difficult to avoid, but eventually realized that Boost Ball is very effective at avoiding it. Also, try to position so that you are away from allies, that way they are not caught in the attack. The lightning dragon heads are usually the third set that Sylux summons, and I recommend trying to, as quickly as possible, use a first, second, and even third charged psychic power bomb, throwing all of them at Sylux so that they hit all dragon heads. This will make all of them substantially easier to destroy. The problem is that these dragons will channel area lightning attacks that are pretty hard to avoid, and for which it seems our companions are completely unaware. This is where it really pays off to have a full health bar. As you can see in my game, I had 3 companions go down at once, and basically just had to eat a bunch of damage in order to revive them all before they got hit again. Now maybe there is a trick to do this phase that I just don't understand, so if that is the case, please point it out to me in the comments, as I'm sure it will help others. Now the one silver lining is that we only need to get Sylux down to around 60% health before this phase ends. At that point, we'll go to phase 2, where we must damage Sylux down while flying through a wormhole. I've seen some people describe this as being the worst phase of the fight, but personally I don't mind it. Super Lightning Shot deals a lot of damage, locks on, and Sylux releases plenty of health orbs to keep us topped off, even on hard difficulty. Also, this phase is relatively short and ends when Sylux reaches around 50% health. This will bring us to the final phase of the fight, which is thankfully one-on-one. Also, I died near the end of this phase on hard difficulty once, and that is how I found out that there is a checkpoint after the first phase, for which I was ever so grateful. Most of Sylux's mechanics in this fight are pretty standard. There are just a couple things that we need to watch out for. First, when Sylux starts summoning a black hole over his head, we need to hit him with a control beam, fighting against the gravity in order to interrupt him. Also, when he starts doing this green electric charge thing, turn into ball form and start boosting to the side to make sure that you avoid his energy lasso. If caught, I think the only way to break free is to deal enough damage to him, and we will take a huge amount of damage in the process. Finally, on normal difficulty, I almost defeated Sylux before he was even able to shift into Lockjaw form, so make sure you give him a chance to do that, then scan it for the logbook. It's worth checking to make sure you have 100% logbook completion before dealing the final bit of damage. Now for the Lockjaw form, it attacks very fast and I found it to be nearly impossible to avoid. The annoying part is that it will knock an entire energy tank off with each attack, then try to snatch it up so that Sylux can heal at the end of the phase. Because of this, I recommend going into Morph Ball form and just trying to make sure that you get back as many energy tanks as possible until the phase ends. Once again, if there is a better strategy for this phase, please share it in the comments. That being said, once Sylux is defeated and following a short cutscene, we can activate the teleporter. Now, the game makes it seem as though we have an option here to not teleport away, but if you don't, you'll just get a game over and have to go through the second and third phase of the Sylux fight again, so make sure to teleport away when given the chance. That's about it though, and if you follow this series from the start of part 1, you should now have 100% scans and items collected, which is required for a special cutscene at the end. I'll go ahead and show that cutscene here for anyone that wants to see it, though it won't have the music that normally goes along with it, copyright and all. Oh, and I would recommend only performing the final save for game completion if you have a backup of the game from before going beyond the point of no return. Otherwise, the only thing the save will be good for is to start a new game off of. In any case, thank you all for joining me on this adventure through Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. I have similar guides for plenty of other great games like Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate 3, Hollow Knight Silksong, and Black Myth Wukong. You can find all of those over on my channel, and if you're new, consider subscribing. You're helping me feed my cat. Her name's Marshmallow. Have a great day. If you're here today, have a great Sunday, a great week, a happy new year, and as always, thanks for watching.